Every business says they're better, but the ones that earn and display the BBB seal back it up. It instantly identifies businesses that are committed to operating with integrity, honoring promises, and telling the truth. Makes you wonder why every business doesn't have it. So look for it, because it's looking out for you. That's why it's the sign of a better business. And find a better business anytime at bbb.org.
Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to our monthly webinar as we start our 2023 webinars again today. We're excited to introduce Stephanie Skaggs with us today. Everyone, my name is Brian Baca, and I'm the president of the Better Business Bureau serving New Mexico and Southwest Colorado. And once again, thank you for joining with us. And hopefully all of you know the big difference about the Better Business Bureau and some of our other competitors out there, or like organizations like us, is we are definitely out in the community, and we really focus on community outreach and being able to provide education to our accredited businesses. But this last year, we've really tried to focus on what we can do with minority businesses and organizations and alliances, and some of the networking events that we've been doing, and some of the reciprocal agreements that we've been doing with some of the minority organizations we're just very proud of, and developing partnerships and relationships along the way. And about a month ago at the convention center in Santa Fe, with the Santa Fe Chamber hosted a huge networking event with all the chambers of commerces across the state of New Mexico. And we were fortunate enough, for my marketing coordinator, Austin, ran into Stephanie Skaggs of the Minority Business Development Agency Business Center, and listening what they have to offer, and so much assistance that they can provide for the minority businesses out there. So the Minority Business Development Agency is strategically focused on filling equity gaps in our small business community, with emphasis on taking minority business enterprises to the next level of success. And we were fortunate to meet Stephanie Skaggs, and she spent 25 years as an entrepreneur, small business owner, financing specialist, business consultant, real estate investor, and health and safety expert. She has started and operated 12 companies, either by herself or with partners. Her expertise focuses on business finance and accounting, business strategy and planning, government contracting and regulations, intellectual property, strategic marketing, and public relations. Although Stephanie's educational background is a Bachelor's of Science in Chemistry and a Master of Science in Medical Science, both from the University of New Mexico, she often gravitated to the role of a chief financial officer in the companies she owned or managed. She is a co-inventor on 3 patents and has held executive positions with Commercial Real Estate Women of New Mexico and SCORE. Stephanie's passion is mentoring other business owners to help other companies grow and prosper. I'm so excited to have Stephanie present to us today. Welcome, Stephanie.
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate that. I'm going to just go ahead and start sharing my screen. And if anybody has any questions along the way, certainly either raise your hand or open up, and certainly feel free to ask questions along the way, because I want to be able to address anything that comes up for people. So as was mentioned by Brian, I've had a lot of business experience myself over the past 25 or so years, owned and operated 12 companies myself in a variety of different industries and so forth. And then the last probably 7 or 8 years, I've really focused on advising other business owners and really giving back to our business community, because what I found early on in my business ownership experience was I didn't have anybody that I reached out to give me advice and mentorship along the way. And so now I spend a lot of my time in doing that, because I think it is so important to have somebody that you can talk to about your business. I mean, honestly, my spouse, by the time that I was, owning 12 companies, he didn't want to hear anything about business. He was pretty much fed up with hearing all the problems that can happen, or the opportunities that you're trying to weigh out, whether you want to move forward with those or not. And so I had really wished that I had a mentor during those periods of time where I was evaluating what was going on in my own business. So about almost say 8 years ago, I reached out to SCORE, which is one of the other business advising organizations here locally as well as across the country. And I started mentoring other businesses at that time. I've also worked for the Small Business Development Center as a business advisor when coronavirus hit in 2020. So I was working with them. And then now I work with the folks at the Minority Business Development Agency. And so that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. But, if you have questions about other organizations that can lend assistance to you and the difference between the different organizations, certainly ask questions along those lines, because I can help you out with information regarding that, since I've had experience with a number of the business development organizations in our state in particular. So as mentioned, my name's Stephanie Skaggs. The New Mexico Minority Business Development Agency, I know that's a mouthful, MBDA is what it's often abbreviated into. We are housed in the Hispano Chamber of Commerce here in Albuquerque, although we do, our grant is operated through the city of Albuquerque, but we do service the entire state of New Mexico, as well as we're really a national organization, so we can reach out beyond our borders. So in terms of minority businesses, there's really a huge impact that minority businesses provide nationwide. And these are just some statistics that they're a little bit old, but I think that you can get the idea. 11 million minority-owned businesses in the United States, employs a huge percentage of people by minority-owned businesses, generating, trillions of dollars in annual revenue. So when you take this entire impact statement into account, really minority businesses add up to big business. And that's particularly true here in New Mexico, but also in other states as well. So looking at New Mexico and Colorado, since the Better Business Bureau of New Mexico focuses on these areas, what is the impact of minority businesses here? And what we can see is that for New Mexico, 37% of total businesses are owned by minority entities. In Colorado, that's 18%. In terms of having paid employees, about 25% of those minority businesses have paid employees, and in Colorado, 11%. So some of them aren't real big. Some of them don't basically hire other employees. There's what we call solopreneur businesses, but still they have a big impact. The percentage of employees that are hired by minority business enterprises in New Mexico, 15%, in Colorado, 5%. And the percentage of minority businesses that have annual revenues over 500,000, you can see 6% in New Mexico and a little over 6% in Colorado. And the major industries in which we find minority businesses related to services, construction, and other services related to waste management and mediation, and then professional and technical. And this is partly because of our national laboratories here that we've had some spin-offs from that help support the professional and technical arena here in New Mexico. And in Colorado, we see construction as a big part of the minority business landscape, transportation and warehousing, other services again, and then again in that waste management and remediation there. Yeah, and Austin makes a good point that the minority businesses, and if you look at the trend of what's happening with minority businesses currently, there is an expansion of the number of minority businesses relative to what's projected over the next few years. Certainly that the impact in terms of the minority businesses in our state and surrounding areas will be increasing. All right, so the Minority Business Development Agency, we are a funded organization through the Department of Commerce. And our mission really is to help and create and retain jobs in the US that promote growth and global competitiveness to minority-owned businesses. So it's really the focus point there. There are currently 36 business centers across the country, not quite one in every state, but very close to. And there's also organizations through the MBDA related to international or strategic partners, some of the export centers, for example, that are run by the Minority Business Development Agency is part of what we do as well. And really it's the overall arching premise of our organization is to provide clients with technical assistance and to help them with contracting opportunities and access to capitals and new market development. And so I'll talk a little bit more about specifically what our services are, but overarching, that's what we tend to say. In terms of who we serve, as the name implies, our mission focuses on minority business enterprises, and that's related to African American, Asian American, Hasidic Jew, Hispanic American, Native American, and Pacific Islanders. A lot of people ask whether women are considered a minority business enterprise, and through our organization, actually not. There's a huge increase in women-owned businesses, and so we are not servicing. It's really only ethnic minorities that we service. Of course, though, if you're a woman-owned ethnic minority, of course, you're welcome to get services from us. The center really focuses on kind of high impact growth areas related to the biosciences, aerospace, energy, defense, construction, cybersecurity, manufacturing, and in our state, the film and television industry. The main point with our clienteles is that they're not startups, that they've been ongoing concerns for a while. They're typically in the small or medium-sized category, although they're small businesses, but they're maybe medium or moderately sized small businesses, and with revenues over $500,000 annually. So typically, like I said, we want to see that they've been in business for a while and that they've been established and they're generating income. And they're really trying to get to that next level in their business. So increasing sales and contracting opportunities certainly helps them to increase that annual revenue amount. So what overarching are the services from MBDA? Access to capital is a big part of that. More than $1.6 billion in capital accessed in FY19. Access to contracts, particularly in the federal arena. So MBDA has helped minority businesses get $3.1 billion in contracts in FY19, and also access to markets. And this has to do with exporting, for example, or growing markets, say, in a different state or, in a different geographical region, or maybe a different industry focus. So that's one of the other areas that we help provide focus, areas on. But in terms of our exporting capabilities, and some of those are through our specialized export centers, $300 million in export transactions have been helped through the Minority Business Development Agency in FY19. And one of the other things that we do just specifically is our one-on-one business advising. So if you're not interested in potentially working for the federal government or whatever, but you're interested in determining other types of contract opportunities, we can certainly help in that arena as well. So more specifically, our center here in New Mexico, the access to capital arena, we have within our business advising staff developed relationships with specific lenders that focus on minority business enterprises. So we can help with that, identifying financing opportunities, assisting in applications for loan packages, et cetera, et cetera. So that's how we help to access capital for these minority businesses. Access to contracts. We employ some specialized software, for example, that we can search for federal contracting opportunities based on what the business's industry codes are, the NAICS codes. And so we can help them identify procurement opportunities, help them to analyze whether they have the competency to, go after that sort of bid, give them advice about negotiations and closing support. And one of the other things that we do is a matchmaking opportunity with some of the larger either businesses or government entities to essentially introduce them to these procurement officers. Even though the federal government is a huge is a huge contracting opportunity, it really still does come down to people doing business with who they like. And so we try to take the impersonalness out of government contracting and, introduce businesses to some of these procurement officers so that they, have a name with a face and they can give them specific information on how to do business with that government entity. In terms of our access to market capabilities, what we try to do here is, again, identify export markets. We can do that through our assistance with our export centers that specifically can help set up even visits to some of these other countries where they might have some exporting opportunities for our local businesses. Putting together market research to help them determine, really, is, exporting to Chile a good idea for my business? I've always thought it would be, but, what our market research might say is that, maybe that's not the best country for you to be addressing. It may be that there's other markets that would be, better suited for what your products are. So anyway, that's our services related to access to markets, certainly there. And then our capacity development and training, we've got a lot of different things going on here. Of course, our one-on-one business advising fits in that. We help to identify certifications or registrations that might be helpful, help them go through the process of how to get certified. For example, becoming a minority business enterprise certified business. That's a potential opportunity. But we never try to pigeonhole somebody into getting a certification, because in some cases it's a process to go through in order to do that. So in some cases, really, we help them identify, are you located in a hub zone, for example? And would that be a good certification so that you can receive set-asides for some of these contract opportunities? So we help identify what the best certifications might be. Help identify areas for growing, help, develop a strategic business plan, for example, for a particular business. We do a lot of events around the state. As mentioned, I met Austin at the legislative reception in Santa Fe. So that was one of our opportunities from being able to visit people around the state. And then we do virtual and in-person group trainings, similar to what we're doing here. We can also do trainings related to educational topics. So this is more geared towards just letting people know what the MBDA is. But certainly we've got talent in our organization related to specific areas. For example, my topic area of expertise is in financing or financial matters. And so we do trainings related to that as well. So those are kind of the four main areas of services that we provide for our clients. What sets us apart, though, because there are a lot of business development agencies out there, what makes MBDA different? And the main differentiators, of course, is that we focus on minority businesses, but also ones that are, they've made it to a certain level and now they're really just trying to expand and to grow to that next level. Hey, can I double my revenues? And in some cases, we have had clients that with one contract that we've helped them secure have doubled their revenues. So it's certainly a possibility depending on the industry that you're in and what your services or your products are that you provide. But, if that is one of your growth goals, certainly come to us and let's talk about a way that we can help you do that. Our main areas, like I say, focus on growth, and the strategic growth plan is certainly part of that. The financial management training, which is kind of my area of expertise, and looking at people's financial statements, because so often business owners, they get their financial statements maybe from their bookkeeper or accountant every month, or who knows how often, but they really don't understand what those financial statements mean. And so we have trainings about, going through the company's financial statements and really understanding what that means, what those numbers are saying. We look for, of course, the profitabilities at plus or minus, but there's a lot more information that you can derive from your financial statements besides just, am I profitable or not? And so we have trainings related to that, and we can also do one-on-one business advising relative to that. As I mentioned, enhanced revenue generation, certainly looking at government contracts. We've got opportunities that can expand a business, honestly, very quickly in some cases. And then just market expansion, determining, is there a different customer type even that you could go after? So maybe you sell to the private industry. Could branching out into government contracting be a way to expand your market pretty quickly? So our focus really is on practical, hands-on solutions that can have speedy impacts. The other differentiator, I might say, for the MBDA in New Mexico is that we really believe in strong collaborations with other organizations. You'll see that we're a staff of 4 here in our state, and we know we can't do it all. And so that's why we form strategic alliances with other agencies so that we can build on their expertise and make that compatible and complementary with what we can do. So here's a list of some of the entities that we have strategic alliances with or formal agreements with. Of course, we are very tight with our Small Business Administration district office here in New Mexico, as well as the Arrowhead Institute at New Mexico State, kind of their entrepreneurial center there, related to the minority entities, the Hispano Chamber, of course, the African American Chamber here. West is another organization. We rely on them sometimes to do some of our trainings as well. And then, of course, the city of Albuquerque, they are our contract administrator, even though we do service the entire state of New Mexico. So this is, like I said, our 4-person staff here. This is me, Stephanie Skaggs. I'm a business advisor with the agency. We don't have any territorial boundaries, though, so we can help really companies across the country as long as they're U.S. companies. We are required by law just to focus on U.S. companies, and we can assist businesses in Colorado as well. There is a business center in Colorado located in Denver. Here's the contact information there. But if the Colorado folks that are here with us today, if we're a closer center for you than having to go to Colorado, that certainly is the possibility. You can reach out to us at any point, and we can certainly help you here. So feel free to reach out to us as well. And then lastly, I'm just here to take questions. I see there's one regarding disabled veterans. Todd, as long as you're a minority disabled veteran, absolutely, we can help you. So that is certainly something that we are well versed in. Like I said, because of our charter, we have to focus on minority businesses at this point. And that's kind of what our focus center is. Now, in terms of other avenues for disabled veteran help, certainly the SBA and their resource partners. There is a Veterans Business Outreach Center. They call it VBOC as for short, Veterans Business Outreach Center. That is funded through the SBA. So they would have more specific information specifically related to veterans programs and assistance there. I know they put on a very good business boot camp for veterans that are looking to own a business or do own a business. So that would be something certainly to consider through the SBA resource partner, the Veterans Business Outreach Center. So any other questions? that
So
I can address.
Stephanie, is it true in that I had a prior career in the National Guard and
Oh, okay.
dealt with businesses that had the minority certified business certificate. And
Uh-huh.
back then we were able to offer a government contract without having to send out a bid.
Mhm.
Is that still true? Because that's a
So,
huge benefit.
yeah, absolutely. There are different set asides, so to speak, for different contracting agencies. And so there's typically going to be a request for proposal or solicitation. And it will say in that solicitation if there's a certain set aside for either small business or veteran-owned business, disabled veteran-owned business, et cetera, et cetera. It will say in there whether there is a set aside for that, and that would then indicate that you wouldn't have to go and bid on it. A competitive bid, so to speak. But those contracting opportunities certainly are available. They've got different types of set-asides that they, depending on what the agency, whether it's a woman-owned, whether it's a total small business, whether it's a disabled veteran. So it's something to look at in the request for a proposal.
And then back in the day, in the early 2000s, the big stat was, and I was involved in recruiting and retention at the national level,
Okay.
is the biggest stat in the 2000s was that, and we know with all the minority groups, the Hispanics is the largest and fastest growing population. But back then it said by 2020 that the Hispanic would be the majority and not the minority anymore. I know we've gotten closer to that stat, but not nearly as fast as we thought.
Right. Yeah, I think that they're, unfortunately, trying to come up with very accurate current numbers is a little bit difficult. And so most numbers are, a year or two behind where we are today. But certainly I've heard those same things, that looking at our population growth and so forth, that the minority, especially the Hispanic population, is due to increase where maybe they're no longer minority.
No, and that was great advice that you gave, Todd. I know John Garcia very well from SBA and the programs that they have that they offer for free services, just like you do, and
absolutely
are there to help veterans and entrepreneurs and veterans as well with their
correct.
services.
Yeah. Well, and as I mentioned, if you're a business owner and you need help and you don't know where to go, reach out to me, because I've got a lot of information about resources that are available. Like I said, I've been a volunteer at SCORE. I've worked at the SBDC, the Small Business Development Center. Now, I'm working with the Minority Business Development Agency. So, certainly we have a lot of information about, who to refer you out to if you have a very specific need. So, don't hesitate to reach out. We're here to help you. That is the main thing, and my philosophy has always been, if we can help other business owners grow and succeed, that's going to help our community overall. As I showed you, minority businesses employ people, so that helps our community. And so if we can raise the economic bar for everybody, that's going to help everybody out. So.
And then I thought that was an interesting stat at the beginning, how that 37% compared to 18% New Mexicans own minority businesses. And I'll tell you, as far as our 3,400 accredited businesses, our membership in our service area, 70% of it is in the construction industry. So that that's huge here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, and you can see that from the slide there that there was a huge percentage of our minority businesses are in the construction area. That is definitely true. And I might add that, if you're a contractor and looking to, have a big bang for your buck in terms of increasing your revenue, and want to consider some of these government agencies, and not just federal government, because I know that can be kind of daunting to try to get a government contract, but some of the other local and state agencies, we can help put you in contact with those government entities as well. And they're a little bit easier to get into the contracting world. You know, you do have to have your ducks in a row, of course, and so forth. But, you know, we want to put you in front of who's going to have the biggest impact for, you know, growing your business. So that's what our goal is.
Excellent. Any more questions out there?
Ah, good. Yeah. So though we're talking about the certifications there. Certainly we can help you with the, you know, determining what is the best type of certification and where do I go to get that certification. So it depends on what kind of business that you would do. So essentially, you know, if you want to reach out to me offline here, I can get you directed in the right place and certainly talk to you more about that. So I'm going to put my email again in the chat here. And feel free to contact me offline and when we'll get you set up on, you know, evaluating what is the best certifications for you and how you go about doing that. So certainly reach out to me. And like I said, you know, if you're not a minority-owned business, but you still need help, still contact me because I can get you information about where to go. So if you need help in any way, shape, or form, please, please, please do reach out to somebody. Because like I said, when I started my first business, you know, I was pretty much just feeling my way along. And I wish that I had somebody that I could have gotten some direction from. Just, you know, somebody to talk to about, hey, what do you think about this? Is this the best way to go? Or, you know, what do you think? You know, can I somehow sidestep part of that learning curve by getting advice from somebody who's done that before, instead of me having to, you know, do that steep learning curve all by myself.
Well, excellent. Well, thank you, Stephanie. That was a great presentation. Brought back some long ago memories for me as well. And oh, so and then those stats, I noticed that those stats were pre-pandemic. Were those the stats that you're out?
Correct. Yeah. That's what I was saying. Is it's pretty hard to find really, really current stats from, you know, well documented sources. So you know, that's I know that there was certainly a lull in everybody's you know, capabilities and what was going on during the pandemic, and those are now coming back up. But I tell you, there's a lot of opportunities out there. There's certainly, if you're looking to grow your business, please reach out. Like I said, we would love to be able to help you.
Well, thank you so much. And this webinar was recorded, and everyone that did register that was not able to attend will get a copy of it, as well as Sean and Austin will be putting on some of our different platforms as well.
Good deal.
Oh, thank you everyone for being with us today, and have a good rest of the day and the rest of the week.
Find a better business anytime at bbb.org.